We're on live now, ma'am.
Good evening, Singapore, and to all our viewers across the globe. Greetings to you, our friends, partners, and supporters. Welcome to Bayanihan Talk webinar series. I am Minerva Lau, the current Honorary Treasurer of the Philippine Bayanihan Society Singapore, and the host for tonight. It's been almost 2 months since we last met here, so we hope you have been keeping well and keeping safe. Indeed, during the last 2 months, the Bayanihan Society has been busily engaged in the first ever virtual Bayanihan Walk 2021. We thank everyone who has supported the walk for a cause and hope you all look forward to next year's Bayanihan Walk 2022. At the last webinar held in February, we were fortunate to have had Ms. Marivic Clarin, who was then just a few days old at her new posting as the Singapore-based Officer of OWA, or Overseas Workers Welfare Administration. Please do not forget to renew your OWA membership so you can enjoy the benefits and services it provides. Tonight, we are honored and delighted to have as a guest speaker, Deputy Superintendent of Police, DSP Johnny Loo, the officer in charge of Prevention, Technology Crime Division of Criminal Investigation Department, that's CID, of Singapore Police Force. He will talk about one of the most common crimes these days, online scams, and how to recognize them and how not to fall for them. Before we proceed, please allow me to introduce our Bayanihan Society here and give you a glimpse of who we are and what we do. Video, please.
On behalf of the board of the Philippine Bayanihan Society in Singapore, I welcome you to the Bayanihan Center. The Bayanihan Center has opened its doors to support the educational, social and cultural needs of Filipinos and others in Singapore. Thanks to the strong partnership between the Government of the Philippines and Singapore and the initiative of our founding President, Ms. Jenny Chua, and Vice President, Mr. Ning de Guzman. Since its establishment in 2001, more than 13,500 people have undergone skills training at the Bayanihan Center. But the Bayanihan Center is located at 43 Pasir Panjang Road. It provides classrooms, facilities and support for volunteers and community groups to conduct various short-term courses including basic and advanced computer training, nursing aid, hotel and restaurant management, dressmaking, caregiving, cooking, and baking and cosmetology. To foster the socio-cultural ties between Filipinos and Singaporeans, we also organize the Bayanihan Walk. It is an annual event to bring together people from all across sectors of Singapore in a fun walkathon to promote integration of Filipinos with the Singaporean community. Tara na mak Bayanihan Center na.
And now, without further ado, may I call on Ms. Marianne Chua, PBSS Honorary Secretary, to introduce our guest speaker for tonight. Marianne, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Minnie. Indeed, we are very, very honored to have with us Deputy Superintendent Johnny Loo. He has been with the Singapore Police Force for 25 years, and he has held various positions in various units. And as officer in charge of prevention at the Technology Crime Division of the Criminal Investigation Department, he leads the team who is responsible for the division's outreach programs and initiatives. So this evening, we are indeed privileged to have with us an expert and on such a very timely topic. May I call on Deputy Superintendent Johnny Loo? Thank you.
Thanks, Minnie and Marianne. Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me this evening. I'm Johnny Loo, and I'm from the Technology Crime Division of the Criminal Investigation Department in Singapore Police Force. Let me share my screen so that we can all see what I'm going to be talking about this evening. Okay. All right. So now I'll be talking about staying alert to online scams. I guess due to the COVID-19 situation, a lot of our daily activities have moved online, be it working, studying, buying stuff, shopping, as well as even gaming. So what I'm going to talk about tonight will be on staying alert to such online scams when such activities go online, and we are then becoming more susceptible to the scammers who lurk around. My topics this evening will actually include, I'll give a brief introduction about the scam situation in Singapore, and then I'll talk a bit more about the common online scams that we observe and what are the protective measures that we can adopt to protect ourselves. And finally, I will actually introduce some resources which I think will be useful for us. First, let me talk a bit about the scam situation in Singapore. Here you will see the crime statistics that the Singapore Police Force released earlier this year on the statistics in 2020 compared to the year 2019. Overall crime actually increased 6.5% from more than 37,000 cases in 2020, from 35,000 cases in 2019 to more than 37,000 cases in 2020. But if we look at the classes of cases, we would see that the total number of scam cases actually increased by more than 65% from less than 10,000 cases in 2019 to almost 16,000 cases in 2020. So if we were to actually exclude scams from the figures, overall crime actually has dropped by 15.3%. Now, out of these 15,000 cases in 2020, more than 14,000 cases actually were due to the top 10 scams in Singapore, and a sum of more than 201 million were lost. So tonight, I'm going to actually focus on the top 4 scams of concern. And these are the e-commerce scams, the social media impersonation scams, the loan scams, as well as the banking-related phishing scams. Now, you will notice that social media impersonation scams and banking-related phishing scams registered the highest increase among these 4 types of scams. So we will be sharing more about that later in the slides. The first scam I'm going to introduce you to will be the e-commerce scams. Now, the e-commerce scams typically revolve around the non-delivery of goods or services after payment. In such cases, the buyers were told to pay upfront and promise delivery of the item. However, they will usually not receive the goods because the seller becomes uncontactable after the money has been transferred. So one of the tips to actually observe is to pay with the platform's escrow service and buy from verified sellers. In some cases, even though you may have placed the order via the online platform, as you can see from this screenshot, the scammer will still try to tell you to cancel the order and bring the purchase offline and ask you to do a bank transfer or the payment before the goods are received. So what are the signs that we should look out for e-commerce scams, because knowing the signs can help us to be more aware of what the scammers could be doing and prevent us from falling prey to such scams. Now, first sign to always look out for is to look out for deals that are too good to be true, because if they are, it probably is a deal that it is going to be a scam. Now, sometimes you also find that there's a lack of information on the products, and the seller will be quite insistent on having bank transfers or to transact off the platform. So how can we protect ourselves? Always complete the transaction on the platform itself and do not agree to bank transfers before delivery, because most often than not, once the money is out, the seller becomes uncontactable and you will not receive the good or service. Where possible, insist on cash on delivery or use the in-platform payment system such as carousel protection or Shopee guarantee, because these systems will actually hold the funds for you until goods have been received. Next, we go on to social media impersonation scams. Now, in such a scam, the scammers usually will use compromised social media accounts to impersonate as your friends or even your followers on social media. They will then ask you for your personal or even internet banking details. And then they will ask you for the one-time password or the OTP for short, under the pretext of helping you to sign up for contests or even to win a prize or even to collect a prize, as you can see from this screenshot on the right. So what you should do is always to be aware of unusual requests received on the social media, be it your friends, your family, or even strangers. And make sure that you never share your personal and banking information or the OTPs with anyone, not even your close friends or family members. Now, under social media impersonation scams, we also want to talk about what we call a WhatsApp account takeover scam. Under the WhatsApp account takeover scam, the victims usually will receive a message from a contact to ask for a 6-digit verification code. Now, this message usually from a friend or a family member will not be true, because it's likely a case that the friend or family member's account has been compromised. Now, after providing this 6-digit verification code, victim will then lose access to your WhatsApp account. If I were to describe what will happen is that the scammer is actually trying to log into your WhatsApp account on his or her own device. But to do that, he will need a 6-digit verification code from WhatsApp. So WhatsApp will send that verification code to the victim, and that's why the scammer is trying to get this 6-digit code. Now let's take a look at a short video of how this scam could be busted. So the key message is really never send your OTP or the verification code. Now, how do the scammers actually convince the victims to share this 6-digit verification code? We could group it into 3 main methods. The first method would be where the victim will receive a message from a friend or family member, but this friend or family member, like I said earlier, the account has already been compromised. This so-called friend or family member will then tell you that, hey, I have sent this 6-digit verification code to you by mistake. Could you actually send it to me? So a lot of times, because it is from our friend or family member, a contact on our phone, we do not suspect anything and we just share. Hence, it is important that we must take note that, question this, do not share your code. The second method would be now the scammer will actually impersonate as a support staff from WhatsApp and tell you that your WhatsApp account has been reported and they need to get you to do a verification of the WhatsApp account. And how to do that? They say they will send you a 6-digit verification code and you have to provide the code for their verification. So after providing the code, the victim would lose access to the WhatsApp account. And we have confirmed with WhatsApp. They said they would never ask their users to share verification codes. So please remember, never share the 6-digit verification code. Now, this third method is something that has started since early this year, and we still sometimes see it happening. Now, what happens is that, like I said earlier, the scammer will actually try to install the victim's WhatsApp account on his own device. And to do that, the scammer will need this 6-digit verification code. Now, in this method right now, what the scammer will do is to deliberately fail the verification process by keying in the wrong verification code repeatedly until such time we should cause WhatsApp to prompt the victim to perform a voice verification, during which WhatsApp would call the victim's phone number to provide the code via an audio message. Now, if the victim had ignored the call or the phone was switched off, this audio message would be directed to the victim's voicemail account if he or she has one. So the scammer would then seize this opportunity to access the victim's voicemail account remotely by using the default PIN provided by the telco or the telephone service provider to retrieve the verification code from the audio message and take over the victim's WhatsApp account. After taking over the victim's WhatsApp account, the scammers would also enable the 2-step verification to prevent the victim from regaining control of the account easily. So what you could do here in this method would be, if your current phone line actually has a voicemail feature, ask yourself if you actually need this feature. If you do not need the feature, contact your telephone service provider and ask them to disable this voicemail feature. If you need the voicemail feature, then please change the default PIN to your own personal PIN so that the scammer could not actually access your voicemail account. Now, so how can we actually protect ourselves besides what we have mentioned earlier? It's really, first of all, always beware of unexpected or unusual requests from strangers or even your family or friends, or even your social media contacts. Second, always verify the authenticity of the request by contacting your friend or family member directly, but offline. For instance, if this person has actually sent you a WhatsApp message asking you for your verification code or for personal details such as your internet banking credentials, your credit card or your debit card, do not share it, do not give that. Instead, call this person via a phone call, not using the WhatsApp call, and check that it is in a genuine request. Now, of course, the third way would be to never share your personal information with anyone. And one important way that you could also protect yourself, on WhatsApp at least, it is to enable a 2-step verification, or what the banks usually call it 2-factor authentication, the 2FA. So how do we enable 2-step verification on WhatsApp? Let me share with you the steps. If you are using a WhatsApp account, in the app, you see settings. Tap on it, and then tap on account. among the menu items, you would see two-step verification. Tap on it, and you'll be asked to key in a 6-digit PIN, a password. To enter that password, verify it, and you will have set your 2FA. In this case, the 2FA, or we call it two-step verification. Now, why is it important to set up this two-step verification? In the earlier scenarios, if the scammer is trying to take over your WhatsApp account, besides when he tries to key in, when he gets the 6-digit verification code that he keys in, he would be asked also to key in this two-step verification. So you need to make sure you set it up. Okay? And of course, like I say, after setting up the two-step verification, never share your 6-digit verification code or your two-step verification with anyone, not even your friends or your family. Okay? Now, the third scam that I'm going to talk about will be the loan scams. In such scams, what happens is that the victims will actually receive as an SMS or a message, be it from WhatsApp or other chat apps, offering loans with so-called low interest rate, and in some cases, they will actually request for a deposit on the pretext of administrative fees, or that they will actually do a trial loan before the actual loan can be disbursed. The victims will never receive the loan after making payment. And besides, this is something we need to know in Singapore, that the actual licensed money lenders are not allowed to advertise their services of loans. Hence, if you receive a message offering loans, be it through your SMS, be it through your WhatsApp, or even on your social media applications, be assured it is most likely a scam, because the real lenders will not be able to advertise such services. Okay? Now, in some cases, we have also observed that the scammers actually would be able to spoof the bank's ID, the bank's name, via SMSs, such that these fake loan advertisements actually would appear in the same message thread of the legitimate bank. This is an issue that we observe, and we are still working with the authorities to see how we can resolve it. But in the meantime, the key message here that we want to share is that the banks, like I said earlier, will not be able to advertise their services of loans on the social media platforms, as well as via your SMS or WhatsApp messages. So if you receive such messages or you come across such ads, please ignore them. Now, this is what I mentioned earlier. What are the signs to look out for on loan scams? Licensed money lenders are not allowed to advertise. So if you see them, that will be an immediate red flag. Okay. If let's say a genuine, if let's say that you receive a request for upfront fee payment before a loan can be processed, that is also another red flag. There's no such thing as an upfront fee payment. And sometimes in the message, you are actually given links that will bring you to fake business website, and look out for these spelling and grammatical errors as well. So what you can really do to prevent yourself from falling prey to such loan scams is to ignore the loan scams on SMS or WhatsApp. If you need a loan, you can refer to the full list of licensed money lenders from the Ministry of Law website. Here I've actually given you the link. Alternatively, you can visit this site here, where on the right hand side, this screenshot here you see. Yeah. You can just go to the site rom.mlaw.gov.sg to get the list of registered money registered list of money lenders. Okay, next, I'm going to talk a bit about, in these scams earlier that we spoke about, and the next one I'm going to talk about the bank-related phishing scams. You will talk about phishing and what is phishing and how do phishing sites reach you. In our daily online activities, there are many ways that online phishing websites could reach you. Be it through a phishing email. I'm sure a lot of us would have probably received emails in which they ask you to do that, you have won a prize and you need to click on the link to provide your particulars and your bank account so that the money could be credited into your account. That's one way. Clicking on suspicious ads, advertisements, when you surf the internet or when you surf the social media platforms. Accessing a fake login page. Yes, that would be also another method. Engaging in social media and SMS broadcast. For instance, if you receive a message like this, your bank account has been compromised, click here to view. Phishing often plays on our feelings of fear, of greed, that gives the sense of urgency that sometimes then we don't think as much. Hence, it is important to sometimes stop and think. The email and SMS phishing scams I mentioned briefly earlier, for some of the phishing emails or SMS received, they talk about government assistance or even that there are promotions being given out, or even due to some parcel delivery, as you can see from the screenshots on the right. Now, usually in such messages or emails, they will actually provide you with a URL that links to a phishing website, but you would not know because unless you pay attention to it. Such websites usually ask for your internet banking details, your credit card details, your one-time password, or even your personal particulars. So what you should look out for would be spelling errors and grammatical mistakes in the message, in the email, and also look out for official looking emails that do not even address you by your name. That will probably give you a sense that it is a mass email that's sent out to a lot of people, hoping that someone will fall for it. Next, I'm going to talk about banking-related phishing scams. Now, in such a scam, the scammer will usually call the victim and impersonate as a bank staff. Or they will actually send you a message claiming that your account or your ATM card is locked. So such calls could come in terms of a WhatsApp call, a Viber call, or any other chat application. And the message could also be through any of these chat applications or through the SMS. So they will ask for personal banking details, ask for your OTPs, and you will only realize that you are scammed when you suddenly saw unauthorized transfers from your bank accounts. So what you could do to protect yourself is to beware of unsolicited calls from persons claiming to be from banks, reputable organizations, or even government agencies, especially when it comes through phone chat applications such as WhatsApp, Viber, or even IMO, depending on what you use. And what you could also do to protect yourself is to never disclose your personal banking or personal details to anyone, and especially the one-time password or OTP for short. Now, in such cases, we will also often see that the calls from the scammers could be spoofed to make it look like local or foreign phone numbers. They will actually use this spoofing technology to mask the actual phone number and sometimes to add credibility to their scam. They may even use the bank's logo as their profile picture. For instance, take a look at this video. So you look at this, you have actually a very big bank logo and the name here to try to add credibility that, I am from the bank. But if you notice this number here, you will see that it is a plus 92 followed by a foreign number. Now, if you are using a Singapore registered number and receive a call from the bank, it will be a local call. The local call would not display the plus sign. Hence, if you are not if you're using a local number, if you receive calls that shows the number +65 or the +9, it is a telltale sign to you that this call is actually not a local call. It's actually been made from overseas. Now, I have been asked a question also is that nowadays the banks have their call centers based overseas. So when these call centers call you, will it be a local number too, or will it be a foreign number? I will tell you upfront here is that if let's say the bank were to call you from their overseas call centers, it will still appear as a local number. All right. So basically in Singapore, if you're using a Singapore registered phone number and you receive calls which display a plus sign, it is a telltale sign that this call is from overseas. All right. Now, these are some screenshots of the messages that were received by victims for the banking related phishing scams. They will usually tell you that either your account has been suspended, they will try to make you worry that your card is going to be blocked due to security issues, and to reactivate, you actually have to call them or you have to click a link. Hence, do not, I say it again, do not rush to act. Okay. Sometimes when you click on the links, these are some of the sites that they will direct you to. It looks very official looking, looks like the actual website also, but most times they are not real. Like in this case, this is actually taken from a fake phishing website of the bank, where they actually ask you to key in your user ID, your PIN, and subsequently, if you have entered such information, they will have your internet banking credentials. And if you continue, they will also be asking you to key in the OTPs. And not just on internet browsers, internet banking, even for phone apps like this. It looks authentic. It even has alerts telling you that there are scam calls targeting customers to make bank transfers and do not disclose. However, these are still possible fake apps. Hence, the important thing is always download the official app from the App Store or the Google Play Store if they're using Android. Here, in the new method of scam, we also observe that there are advertisements on social media like Facebook, which are promoting supposedly contests from local banks or even some of the telephone service providers. But clicking on such apps will actually direct you to the fake websites and asking for your personal information and internet banking details. So once you try to log in or when you provide such information, you may then experience monetary losses or even unauthorized transactions. So to sum it up, what are the prevention measures that you can adopt to protect yourself? First, do not click on the URL links provided in unsolicited emails and text messages. Always verify the authenticity of the information with the official website or sources. And report any fraudulent credit or debit card charges to your bank and cancel your card immediately. And the key message: beware of unsolicited messages or calls from persons impersonating as bank staff, especially from phone applications like WhatsApp, IMO, and Viber. We have actually verified with the banks, and they say that they do not contact their customers through such phone applications. So if they call, it will be a normal telephone call. And do not disclose your internet banking details such as your account username, your personal identification number, your PIN, or even the OTP, the one-time password, to anyone, not even your close friends or family member. Now, I'll move on to introduce some resources which I think will be useful to everyone. The first will be the Scam Alert website. Here I've provided the URL as well as a QR code in case you need to scan to go to the website. Now, the Scam Alert website actually carries the latest scam trends where you can get up-to-date information on the observable trends that, as well as the methods of carrying out such scams. These are measures. There are also measures that you can adopt to prevent yourself from falling victim to such scams. And there is an option to sign in for alerts. These are the QR codes to sign in to alerts. They are on Telegram and WhatsApp. So if you are a WhatsApp user, you can scan this QR code here to actually sign up and you receive latest updates on scams. If you're on Telegram, then this will be the QR code. Okay. Next, I'd like to talk about ScamShield. This is a free to download mobile application which is created specifically for filtering scam calls and messages. However, I have to say that it is currently available only on iOS devices. That means Apple iPhones, iOS devices. So to download, you can just go to the Apple App Store. As for Google and Android users, it's still in the development stage. We will always announce when it is out. Now, what does this ScamShield do? It actually checks against incoming SMS messages and calls against a list of known scam numbers. And if there is a match, it actually filters or blocks this call or SMS. So what happens is that we are using artificial intelligence to identify scam SMS messages by spotting keywords commonly found in such messages too. Okay. Now, another resource that I would like to share is this website here, that is Have I Been Pawned? There's a QR code if you need to use as well. This website actually allows you to check if your email account has been compromised in a data breach. So what you need to do is just to go to the website and enter your email address, and they will let you know if it has been involved in a data breach. Yeah. So what happens then if you type in and you realize that your account has been pawned, was compromised before? Then please make sure to change the password to your email address and also the password to all the other online accounts that use the same password. As a practice, we will tell everyone that to use different passwords for all your different online accounts. That is a better way to protect your accounts. Okay. Next will be the SPF. Follow our Singapore Police Force social media, our Facebook or Instagram page for the latest crime trend as well as upcoming activities. Okay. You can just go to, for instance, Facebook, and you search for Singapore Police Force. You would see us, see the account, and you can like it and follow it. And Instagram would be Singapore Police Force. All right. And that brings me to the end of my presentation today. Thank you for your time. And I'll now hand over back to me.
Thank you. Thank you, DSP Johnny Loo, for that very informative presentation. I think it's very timely, and especially now, even under COVID pandemic, there are still a lot of people who are trying to scam other people, which is so sad. We are now open for question and answers. I mean, for questions. If you have any question, please send them to our chat room in the Zoom or through our Facebook page. Please feel free to ask questions. DSP Johnny, Johnny, sorry if I can. There are quite a few questions here. One of these is, I think, there have been a lot of victims. So how do we recover losses that people have experienced after falling into that trap? Or are there legal recourses?
The best way, if you ask me, is always to prevent yourself from falling prey to such scams. And if in the unfortunate situation where you actually have discovered unauthorized monetary transfers, the fastest way would be to contact your bank to alert them and to see if the transaction could be stopped.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In the Singapore police, of course, after that, the bank will always advise you to actually lodge a police report, where the police will then follow up as well. That is where it's also important to actually, after alerting your bank, to make a police report so that we can follow up on the case itself. I'll be upfront to say we have actually recovered some monies lost, but by and large, the moment the transaction goes through to an overseas bank, recovery may not be as easy. It will become complicated. Yeah. And sometimes it may not even lead to a positive outcome. Yes. Hence, the best way, if you ask me, is always to prevent ourselves from falling prey and not lose that money in the first place. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So we need to immediately inform our bank
Yes,
of
please.
any case. But what kind of information do we need to have to be able to do a proper reporting?
Oh, you need to provide, of course, the circumstances of what had happened and what are the transactions you discover at the earliest opportunity always. Because in this case, I think speed is of essence.
Oh, okay. Okay. Another question here from Ms. Tats. Why are loan scams and such still are able to send messages that are on the PDPA registry?
Okay. Because first of all, a lot of time these messages are sent from overseas, and the numbers are spoofed. They are not even registered under the PDPC in this case. Yes.
Oh, okay. So you mean the scammers that are overseas are not covered by the PDPA? Well, that's a Singapore thing, but
okay, I guess the issue here is that, because where they are based and where they send their messages are not from the usual routes that we come in through. So hence, even though we have a do not call registry, the DNC, that is registered, that will cover quite a lot of the legitimate advertisements and messages, but it doesn't actually avoid this type of loan scam messages that come in, unfortunately. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Where are they coming from, most of these scams? Where are they generally coming from?
All over the world, actually.
They're like, we always say the Nigerian scam or... But I don't know.
Based on the information we received, they are actually quite over a number of countries actually. Yeah.
Wait. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. What can we do if we are inundated by loan scam messages? Is there something we can do
Sorry, what can we do?
if we are inundated with all these messages, loan scams messages?
Inundated with all these messages.
Yeah. Like
Uh,
every day, I get a lot every day, but now not so much. But yeah.
I I I still get them on and off these days. I think of course to one way to actually help us would be that if you are now iOS device user, I would advise that you download the Scam Shield that I mentioned earlier. Yeah, that will actually help you to actually filter out uh, quite a number of messages also. I have that on my phone as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, scam shield. Okay.
Yes, the Scam Shield app. Can just go to the Apple App Store, or earlier I actually had shared the QR code.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
So that's one way, of course. And what else you could do is to just pay attention and delete them and ignore calls, because I would not say totally ignore everything, because we do need to be on the lookout also. For instance, if just now I mentioned about the WhatsApp account takeover scam, where if let's say the scammer try to use your voicemail audio messages,
mhm.
so you need to still watch out, but be aware. The important key here is always be aware and consider. Yeah,
So yeah. So we
yeah.
must
Learn to
always
spot
be
the
a little
signs.
bit suspicious when they're asking for money, huh?
Yeah. Look out for the signs. That's why earlier we talked about when all the telltale signs, the red flags. Because when you learn to spot the signs, then you'll be able to stop yourself from falling prey and stop the crime. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. But DSP, if WhatsApp seems to be the common media that is used, how about the others like Telegram or what is that, or there's a new one, Telegram or Signal.
Signal.
Are they getting all this too, or is it just WhatsApp
Um, I
or
don't think it's a
Viber?
case where WhatsApp is vulnerable.
Mm.
I guess it's probably a case where because we use WhatsApp quite commonly here. So I guess that is one of the biggest space. I mean, if you were the scammer, you want to try to hit the biggest space and see how many will fall for it. Yeah. So in Singapore's context, we see WhatsApp being one of the platforms which is often used, but they are not the only ones. We also observe, like that's why earlier, if you saw the slides earlier, also is I also mentioned about apps like Viber,
Mm.
or even apps like IMO.
Mhm.
Yeah, I understand that these apps are also quite popularly used by our uh, foreign
Scammers.
workers here, yeah, in Singapore, because I think even in Philippines, you guys use Viber quite often as well, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So Viber, there was a time, especially early last year when COVID first started not too long, and then we were all being asked to stay at home, and subsequently we even have the circuit breaker. A lot of the foreign workers, especially those who were actually staying at the dormitories, they could not go out to perform the banking transactions. So they were quite vulnerable when they received messages that I showed some of them earlier about your account going to be
Mm.
suspended, your ATM card was going to be blocked. They were quite concerned, of course. Hence, they became vulnerable. And a lot of times, it was not just WhatsApp. It was Viber,
Mm.
IMO, even SMS. Yeah. So
Yes.
if you ask me, it's not actually just WhatsApp itself, but it's really a
Mm.
case of they are trying to hit a big base here, and it could be any other phone chat applications. So long as there is a base big enough for the scammers to pay attention to. Yeah. So hence, I think, like I mentioned earlier also, is that the important thing is really to recognize the signs, to spot the signs, to know what to look out for, and do not just blindly believe. Because phishing often preys on our feelings of being worried. They will always give you a message that needs you to act quickly. So in that haste, we often forget to actually stop and question, and we just act on impulse, and in the process lose important information as such, and end up losing our hard-earned monies. Yeah. And it's not just about whether is it the workers in Singapore, be them Singaporeans, or be it the foreigners who are in Singapore. I think every one of us need to be aware, because it is a case of our hard-earned monies. Yeah.
That is so true. DSP, how about all these loan sharks? Would they fall under your scam definition?
The loan sharks will fall under the unlicensed money lending. It is, for such cases, usually they are not scams. These are the loan sharks who actually really do give out loans, but they charge very exorbitant interest rates, and they even cause harassment when you can't make payments. Our message has always been a case of never take the loan from the loan sharks. Unlicensed money lenders, the moment you start taking a loan from the unlicensed money lender, is the start of another nightmare. So please don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. You mentioned that unlicensed money lenders are not allowed to advertise, but how about touting?
No, licensed money lenders, they are not allowed to advertise. Unlicensed,
Yes, sorry about that. Yeah.
No worries. Yeah, so hence they are not allowed to advertise at all. They are, the licensed money lenders would go about their business and comply with the requirements that are laid down for them by the Monetary Authority, as well as the Ministry of Law. Yeah, especially. Sorry, not the Monetary Authority. It will be the Ministry of Law.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I still have one more question. I'm just looking around if anyone else has sent some questions. Okay. My question is, because this is intended for the Filipino community in Singapore and all those also outside Singapore. I'm just curious, what is the scam that it's so common for that is common, or how do I say? What's the scam that's so common among the Filipino community here? Like how
It's the scam
easily
that is most common to the
on the Filipino community? I mean,
in Singapore itself, based on the cases we receive, I think banking related phishing scam is one.
okay.
On and off, we would see reports of being made of domestic workers, especially, falling for them. But I also have to qualify that it goes beyond just the domestic workers. There have also been others of other occupations. Even some of them are from the PMT groups, who also fell for the scams. Yeah. Hence, if you ask me, it's not a case of any specific group, but I guess it is a case of sometimes even especially in our fast-paced life, we often think that it will not happen to us. It's that kind of mentality which is dangerous. We often think, especially if that it won't happen to me, I will know how to recognize the signs. The moment they ask, I will know that it's going to be a scam. These are actually very dangerous. Yeah. In fact, these are the ones who could even be more likely to fall for the scam. Yeah.
Yeah, that is so true. Yeah. Any last message from you? Last word from you?
Oh my gosh, patapos na.
Is there any more question? Any more questions somebody wants to ask? I don't see any more questions, but those are the questions that I have.
Okay.
Yeah, if there's any last reminder from you,
Sure.
DSP.
Yeah. I'm really glad to be here. And I think it is everyone plays a part to address scams, to help to take care of one another. You know, this information sharing that I've done today is not just to protect ourselves, but it's also to protect our loved ones. So it is always good to spread the word. So if someone were to exhibit a certain sign, and we notice that he or she could be in trouble, it could be a friend, it could be a family member, share the message, spread the word. When more people can spot the signs, then more people will be able to stop the crimes. And we do hope that there will be our hard-earned money just does not end up with the scammers. Okay.
Okay. Yes, very so true, so true. Yes. Thank you so much, DSP Johnny Loo, for all these very informative details.
Thank you very much for having me.
Guidelines for us so we don't get scammed. It's easy to say, but sometimes we really don't know that we are already being scammed sometimes. So thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you.
And now may I invite Ms. Christy Vicentina, PBSS Honorary Vice President, to deliver the closing remarks. Christy, please.
Thank you, Minnie. Good evening to our friends and kababayans in Singapore, and to our friends and families in the Philippines and in other parts of the globe. Mabuhay. On behalf of Philippine Bayanihan Society Singapore, allow me to say thank you to the people who helped us for tonight's webinar. Deputy Superintendent of Police, Mr. Johnny Loo, thank you for sharing your time and expertise to remind the general public that online scam is real and it's getting bigger and bigger. Thank you for your whole team's dedication to help everyone avoid scams. In fact, my team PNB is working with some of your team members for the same cause. So thank you very much for superb dedication there. And they really go out of their way to conduct trainings for different groups. So if your group, those who are on FB, if your groups are interested for this kind of talk, they can conduct it and fit it into your organization. Sana po marami tayong natutunan para hindi tayo ma-scam. So lagi ko ang sinasabi, kahit hindi na po tayo mag-ipon, huwag lang tayong magpa-scam. Lagi po tayong target, especially the OFW. So scam, the golden rule is always, if it is too good to be true, it's not true. So sabi nga ni Johnny, beware of money lenders. And if it is on SMS, yan, may ganyan po kami. If it is on SMS, it's a scam. If it is money lending, because licensed money lenders, as emphasized by our dear colleague, are not allowed to advertise through SMS or WhatsApp. So kapag naka-receive po kayo, hindi po yan totoo. So it's a scam. So ayan po. And beware of online charmers. Okay, we have also. So if he asks for money, it's not real love. So pakitingnan nyo na po, yung mga guwapo dito, they are the usual faces that you will see who will ask for money from you. So if he asks for money, he is not real love. Okay, so lagi po natin tatandaan yan. So to sum it up, as has been suggested or repeated many times, spot the signs and stop the crimes. So let us all do our part to spot the signs and help to report. Minsan kasi nahihiya tayo na mag-report. So continue to help by reporting, because they will be able to populate the data and come up with a better solution for all of us. So wag po tayong mahihiya pag na-scam po tayo or meron tayong nalaman na scam, do our part, do our share, and do the reporting. So maraming salamat din to all our friends who always help us share and promote our webinars. the Philippine Embassy Singapore, led by His Excellency Ambassador Joseph Del Maria. Consul Tony Reyes, thank you. I believe you were the one who connected us to the Singapore Police Department a long time ago. And Richard and Rex of FLPH, Lynn of CDE, they are all here. And Eloisa of PAUS, Miss Lucy Tagle of Miss Petit Team, I saw you there and I saw you tagging every single one in your group in Facebook. Fast Associates, BNG, Lila, I saw you. Rita J, June and Dazi. Lucky Plaza Ladies, FAS, Mau and Luz. UAP, Ateneo LSE. Excalibur, Kabayanihan, Jehan Bulanadi and Arvin. Maraming salamat for sharing this to other countries as well. Maraming salamat ulit and mabuhay. Back to you, Minnie.
Thank you. Thank you, Christy. Yes, and thank you again, DSP Mr. Johnny Loo, for that very informative presentation. Let's just hope that if not zero, really very small people will get into all these traps, and we all learn. Hopefully we don't try to learn from mistakes. We just hope that we learn and we don't do the same mistake. So thank you so much for that. Just to let everyone know, PBSS is at the Bayanihan Center, 43 Pasir Panjang Road. For any suggestions of topics or ideas, please let us know. You can email us at bayanihancenter@singnet.com.sg or call at 647-437-4700. So that's the telephone number. Please like our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/Bayanihan Society SG. Please follow us on Instagram at Bayanihan Society SG. Please support us at www.giving.sg/PBSS. Thank you all very much again for joining us today. Our I think 1, 2, 3, so the 5th webinar this year. We hope this has been a fruitful discussion for each one of you. Our next Bayanihan webinar is on Thursday, May 20, 2021. The topic is not just about aging, but I guess everyone will hit this in the future, if not now, about osteoarthritis. That's something to do with our joints. So our guest speaker is Dr. Joseph Ryland Flores. He is an orthopedic surgeon and sport medicine specialist. Specialist consultant, the Los Santos Medical Center and Langfang Orthopedic Center, Langfang in China. He's also consultant to Noble Life International. So he's our next speaker who will be talking about health and aging issues of our bones because we use them so much. So thank you so much. This is Minerva Lau, and together with our board and staff of the Philippine Bayanihan Society Singapore, we say thank you for joining us tonight and see you at the next webinar. Please keep well, keep safe, and especially as the pandemic is still around us. Good night and God bless. Thank you.